for CS242. Basically, we're just going to create a simple Node.js server. We can start line by line, and I have another readme.md here, and I'm going to pull it up later and explain the code line by line. So first things first, you use strict to avoid any ambiguity in your JavaScript. And the second line would just, you create a variable called HTTP, and you invoke a require. Require is basically a common JS module. And in the common JS module, you require HTTP. So now get access to the HTTP APIs. So now we just assign, let's say we want the port number to be 3000. That's fairly easy in line number 4. Line number 7 to line number 15, we have our code block. And basically, we start with having a variable named server. And now because we have access to the HTTP API, we can use the http.createServer. And in the create server, you must have a, actually, I'll pull up the readme.md so people can see while I'm talking. So right now we are in, okay, going back. Require HTTP. It's a common JS module. It's low level. It deals with stream handling, message parsing, and parses a message into headers body, but it does not parse the actual headers of the body. There's a source. And then let's see.
Stop.
Go ahead. Keep talking, sure.
Why you are saying low level?
Meaning,
why this is not high level?
It's closer to the machine, I assume. I haven't researched so much, but I assume that because it can handle input and output stream very well.
HTTP module to create the web instead of using expresses the high level of HTTP. So it looks like the basic level of HTTP module. Because of that, they are saying that means to create the web application, you need a lot of things in programming. But if you have a good wrapper, then you don't have to do that. Then you can reduce your line of code. So that's why they are saying low level here.
This is still technically so.
Yes, the application level, then you can create it, but still you have to write a lot in server side. So that was a long time ago, we used this one. Looks like nowadays everybody you are using Windows, right? My generation, I have to create the button by using all over the pixel window size. So at that time, we didn't have a very good high-level packages. Looks like WordPress.
Yeah.
WordPress, you don't have to write any code, right? But this one, looks now, HTML, CSS, I did it. I wrote code manually. So if you have a high-level module, then you can do that. That's why we are saying this is very close to basic web application that we are using HTTP module. Go ahead.
Okay, so going back and because we require HTTP, we have access to the API, and we invoke the API, the .createServer. What is .createServer? So basically, .createServer creates an object of, creates a server for you, an object of a server from the class server, okay? And also, just to simplify, the documentation usually have a lot of optional parameters. I simplified it with this code in mind. So the syntax for this is you have http.createServer and a parameter request listener. And in the example above, the request listener is this one. This is a function. It's an anonymous function, doesn't have a function name. And also requests and response are objects, okay? Next is request listener. There you go. We have two objects as parameter. We just put our own name, but basically in the documentation, we call it as incoming message and server response. Okay, so request or REQ is incoming message. RES is server response. Okay, so furthermore, if we try to use this, the syntax of this one is similar to this one. It's the same. Okay, and basically the code block of create server, it should return http.server. Okay, now we talk about the REQ or request or the .incoming message. Okay, this is an object created by the HTTP server. It can also be created using http.client request. And in the first code block, code line 9 to 11, This is an if-else statement only. And as you can see, it tries to check if the requested URL is equal to /about. And else if the requested URL is /. This also denotes the home page or index. And else, if they requested for something else, we would have this. So again, we would check the requested URL. And if it is /about, we'll grab the string and assign it to the variable content. Same goes with code line number 10 and code line number 11. Okay, we'll go deeper, let's say. So the .url is the URL provided by the requester. So basically, if someone connects to your server and put /about, your server would get that request. And then as the server, if you hit request.url, you can check who is the requester. What's the URL that's being requested? Sorry. Okay, so that was straightforward. Next is status code. So now, let's say someone requested, we want to respond back, right? So we can access that using the server response parameter, which we denote as RES, which is response. So in response, we also have this API called .statuscode. Basically, this is what we want to let the users know that, hey, is it working okay? Okay, we'll throw them a status code 200. Or if it's a different URL, it's a status code 301 or 302, redirect. Or if it's not working, we'll put the res.statuscode equals 404. Okay, next is we also have access to the .setHeader API of the server response. So basically, .setHeader sets a single header value for header objects. And inside of the set header, you have two parameters as a string. One is the header type, in this type, which is we tag as content type. And the other one is the header value, which in this case is text/HTML, comma, char set equals UTF-8. So you can also put like JSON and other stuff if you want it to output in a different way. And lastly, the response.end, we just we signal that all the response headers and bodies have been sent. And in this case around, we output or throw back the variable content. So now we can use that. And then the next after this server, so this is just a function. It's not yet invoked yet. This 7 to 15. So only in code line 17 that we invoke that variable, which is a function, okay? And we invoke that the .listen API, okay? Basically, .listen just starts your HTTP server and starts listening for connections or requests. It's like you're opening it up. I'm ready to take requests. My restaurant is open. First, execute it. Execute this one? Okay, let's see. Should work because it works before. Haha. Let's see. See, let's go there. Okay, node projects, CS242, module 1. And then node app.js. As you can see, I have the console.log out here in my code. It says server is running at HTTP blah, 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 and use the port variable, which is this one. Again, when we use backticks, we are able to use the variables just by putting a $sign and then close in brackets, curly brackets. And then now you can see in the console that it's, server is running at HTTP localhost 3000. So let's go now to access that in our browser. And we hit localhost 3000. And as you can see, this one is the same as the one we saw as a slash, right? And we go back to the code, and that slash is this one. And that's why we got an H1 tag, which is, woo, it's a big tag. Okay, homepage, okay? And then when we try the /about, this is the about page. And then if we try something else, like let's say, welcome newcomers. Sorry for page is not found because we haven't met you, we haven't talked to you. Okay, so this is just the HP hands-on practice module 1 for Monday.